Good morning, guys. It is Tuesday, February 7th, 2024. This is Bathrobe Business. I got the coffee and I got the news. So let's jump into it. I've got a couple stories I'm going to share with you guys that I think have greater market repercussions. It's kind of a slow news day, so I'm just going to stick to these three. There are other interesting stories in the market. Revenues are out for certain companies. Certain ones are up, certain ones are down. But I don't think that leads to greater market effects. So I'm just going to report on the ones that I think are important. So the important ones. Let's start with New York Community Bank. So this is a story I've failed to talk about. It's been in the ether. It's been out there every morning as I'm looking at the news, but it's not what I'm talking about. So I guess I figured it's finally time to do it because it's been a major shift in the fact that it's been downgraded so heavily. So New York Community Bank is a massive bank in regards to commercial lending. That's not surprising, seeing as how big New York is with commercial lending. But it isn't just distributed to New York proper or New York City proper. It's nationwide. And the company has been slowly spiraling down, downgrading, obviously, as commercial real estate has never recovered since pre-COVID and is unlikely if it ever will. And Moody's has just downgraded it to a junk bond status as far as debt. Also, they have slashed their dividend by 71%. So their best days are frankly behind them. I just think that this is a story worth reporting because it just shows that commercial real estate is not going to recover. It is their best hope is to refabricate these for residential use, especially where we need housing across the United States. That's probably the best use of these properties. Granted, there's other stuff in there. Obviously, you can't just refabricate a commercial building into residential. First of all, permitting alone in New York alone would be impossible. But there's other factors like massive reconstruction, etc. But all I'm saying is this commercial real estate is not going to go anywhere. The only commercial real estate that is safe is grocery stores, mechanic shops, dry cleaners, things that provide actual services. But as far as large corporations, I think especially in the face of massive layoffs from companies in the tech industry, commercial real estate is not what it was and it will not be that again. So that's just one story I want to report. There's no greater repercussions other than that. But I do want to mention that a lot of people talk about commercial real estate is going to crash, and therefore the U.S. economy is going to crash. This is going to be like '08. It's not. Commercial real estate is an incredibly small sector of the U.S. economy, and even if you get a 20% reduction or a 20% default in commercial real estate, that's pretty much a blip in the in the U.S. economy. So this isn't going to have greater repercussions. For some reason, people are treating this like '08 as if it's the housing crisis all over again because most of these loans are going to default. They probably will. I think you'll see a large reduction, especially in major cities like New York, San Francisco, LA. I think it's very possible to see defaults on some of these loans. But so what? They're such a small sector of the economy, it's not going to make a blip at all. So that's just my 2 cents. Sorry, I'm a little hoarse today. Next story is about Uber. So Uber revenue rose from the estimated revenue was supposed to be 9.76 billion, but the actual revenue ended up at 9.94 billion. So they beat substantially. Now, why I report this is because this is entirely due to consumer spending. More people are traveling, more people are going out to restaurants, more people are ordering Uber Eats. Uber is a luxury in many regards. But it is also a service when you are traveling. Personally, I don't use Uber in the city much. I only use Uber Lyft when I'm abroad. And as we know, travel abroad has increased to pre-pandemic levels and above. People are traveling more than ever. The service industry is still seeing the greatest hiring of any sector. And so this just goes to show the strength of the economy. I think that this Uber revenue beat can be extrapolated into a greater sense of how strong the U.S. economy is. I know that YouTube at large has this opinion that the U.S. economy is in shambles, we're going to crash, it's a recession any day now. I don't think that's in the cards at all. I think that the U.S. economy is doing very powerfully and very strongly, and it's going to continue to do that. And I hope Jerome Powell does not cut interest rates, as I say every day. Last story is about Ford. So Ford is also a pretty powerful one just simply because of how much they're up, and just in the fourth quarter alone, how strong their sales were. Again, I think this is to get greater market repercussions because their expected revenue was supposed to be $40.12 billion, but they came in at 43.2 billion. So they beat the market by over $3 billion just in the fourth quarter alone in sales. They also are issuing a special dividend in addition to their regular quarterly dividend. So an additional 18 cents per share they'll be designated in the first quarter, just because their revenues just beat so powerfully. And one of these reasons that they did so well is because they cut back on EVs substantially, right? We reported this last year that a lot of these big automakers are cutting back on EVs because the EV sales just aren't there. Ford lost 4.7 billion in EV sales last year because they were just not moving. But the traditional combustion engines are doing fantastic. I just think this is a great illustrator of market trends. This just shows what's going on in the market. People are buying, and what's interesting is these are new car sales, right? Ford is manufacturing new cars, so new car sales are up across the board. And that's in the face of high interest rates, right? Everybody is buying a car despite the fact that the prime rate is at 5.5%. Granted, there are dealer incentive, company incentives that will lower that interest rate. But regardless, in a high interest rate market, the automotive sector is doing fantastic. So that's why I extrapolate the story to greater market trends of the fact that the U.S. economy is incredibly strong and that the interest rates are not weighing it down whatsoever, because a car is very much a luxury. You can argue that a mortgage is a necessity. Granted, people can still rent, but a mortgage is more of a necessity seeing as how it's housing. A new car is entirely a luxury because you can get a used car quite easily. But new car sales are up that substantially. I think it shows the power of the U.S. economy, the fact that interest rates are not weighing it down, and that we're doing actually very well. That's pretty much it. Like I said, it's going to be a kind of a slow news day. I just wanted to report those three stories. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I hope you have a productive day.